Perhaps one of the biggest disputes is, to whom does the land of Israel belong today? To whom does the land of Israel belong? That's the question that I want to answer. People always want to know, is there any basis for saying to whom the land belongs? Now, some people want to say that there are political, historical, other factors, and there probably are, but it says clearly in Genesis, the book of Genesis, that God gave the land to Abraham and his descendants. You can look at Genesis 12:7. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, I will give this land to your offspring. And then it says in Genesis 13:15, for I will give you and your offspring forever all the land that you see. And it just goes on. It says it also in Genesis 15 that he will give the land to the Jewish people. That's through Abraham. Genesis 15, chapter 18, it says, from the brook of Egypt, which is the Wadi El Arish, down at the northern part of the Sinai Peninsula, all the way up to the river Euphrates, up in Iraq. That's actually the boundaries that God established for the land of Israel. So clearly, God is establishing boundaries, and he gave this gift of the land to the Jewish people, to Abraham. But then Abraham had two sons, Ishmael and Isaac. God narrows that gift of land to Isaac in Genesis 26. What it says is, I will give you all these lands. This is verse 3. To Isaac, I will give you all these lands to you and your offspring. Now, Isaac went ahead, and he had two sons, and what he had was Esau and Jacob, and then what he promised was that he would give this land to not Esau, but to Jacob. God spoke to Jacob in chapter 28:13 of Genesis, and he said to him, I'm the Lord your God, the God of your father Abram, the God of Isaac. I will give you and your offspring, the 12 tribes, the land that you are now sleeping on. And then he says the same thing to him when he returns to the land. He says in Genesis 35:12, I will give you the land that I gave to Abraham and Isaac, and I will give the land to your future descendants. Here's the point. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, God promised the land in the book of Genesis. And if you go through the whole Old Testament, this promise of land comes on over and over again. And then the last book of the Old Testament in the Hebrew canon is 1st and 2nd Chronicles. It's one book in the Hebrew Bible, and it's the last book. And in 1st Chronicles chapter 16, what it says is that God would give this land to the Jewish people. Once again, it says that he gave it to them. The covenant he made with Abraham swore to Isaac and confirmed to Jacob as a decree, and to Israel as an everlasting covenant. I will give the land of Canaan to you as your inherited portion. And then in 2nd Chronicles chapter 20, verse 6, it says, Are you not the God who is in heaven? Do you not rule over the nations? Power and might are in your hand, and no one can stand against you. Are you not our God who drove out the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel, and who gave it forever to the descendants of Abraham, your friend? So here's my point. When I look at all these promises in the book of Genesis, from the first book, and then many, many references throughout the whole Old Testament, to the last book of the Old Testament, God is saying over and over and over again that the God of Israel gave the land of Israel to the people of Israel forever. That is a forever promise. So title to the land of Israel belongs to the Jewish people. And in fact, in Jeremiah 7:7 and 25:5, he considers that land a gift from everlasting unto everlasting, min olam va'ad olam, meaning it is the strongest way that the Hebrew Bible can describe something that is eternal. And it is saying in Jeremiah using a phrase that's usually reserved for the person of God himself and the nature of God, from everlasting unto everlasting. It uses it to describe the gift of the land of Israel to the people of Israel. God of Israel gave the land of Israel to the people of Israel from everlasting unto everlasting. It is an eternal promise. Now, Leviticus 26 does say that enjoyment of that land will only come with obedience. I was once in a forum with a colleague who believed that the land of Israel promise no longer belonged to the Jewish people. And he pointed out that in Leviticus 26, it says, I will scatter you among the nations, and I will draw a sword to chase after you, so your land will become desolate, and your cities will become ruins. That is a true saying. When Israel disobeyed the Torah, they were driven out to Assyria and to Babylon. They came back after a 70-year captivity from Judah, and then they were driven again out by the Romans. Every time we disobeyed Torah, we were driven out. But what I like to point out is that at the end of the chapter, it says, yet in spite of all this is verse 44, while they are in the land of their enemies, I will not reject or abhor them so as to destroy them and break my covenant with them, since I am the Lord their God. For their sake I will remember the covenant with their fathers, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the nations, to be their God. I am the Lord. So the promise at the end of this is that God will once again restore the Jewish people to their land. It says the same thing in Deuteronomy, that God would one day restore the Jewish people to their land. It says, when you are in distress and all these things have happened to you, you will return to the Lord your God in the end of days and obey him. He will not leave you, destroy you, or forget the covenant with your fathers that he swore to them by oath, because the Lord your God is a compassionate God, and he promises to restore them. That's Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 30 and 31. Here's my point. It is really true that enjoyment of the land is something that is contingent on obedience. However, title to the land is never changed. The land of Israel, by title, by right, from the gift of God, it belonged to God. He gave it to his people Israel. It belongs to them. And every time God brings them back to their land, he is there in providence, giving them the land that belongs to them. And so, in terms of title rights, the land of Israel belongs to the Jewish people, because the God of Israel gave the people of Israel the land of Israel forever and ever and ever. I want to be really clear that there may be other factors that we discuss when we talk about ownership rights in the land of Israel. There are historical, political, social issues that we have to consider and discuss when we talk about rights in the land and such. However, in terms of title deed to the land of Israel belongs to the people of Israel when it comes to the Bible. That's all I've been trying to discuss. There are other factors, yes, historical, political, sociological. But when it comes to the Bible, biblical reasons, God has granted the title of the land to the people of Israel.